If you've got symptoms like you've got inconsistent revenue, you're doing everything yourself, you're the bottleneck in your business, your content's not converting, you're not building a business based on the life you want, you're shrinking your life to fit your business. You just need to think, if money wasn't a factor, what would you change today? What would you change in your life? What would your business need to provide for you to be able to do that? And how can you change that in your business? Welcome to today's episode of Business Growth Lab. I'm your co-host, Samantha Riley, alongside Leon Flitton today. Thanks for joining me again this week, Leon. It's great to have you here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We normally start with something fun, but we haven't done anything except for pretty much lie on the couch for 2 weeks, have we?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. So,
oh, man.
Yep. Thanks for the flu.
There's so many words coming out there, Leon. Being hit by the flu hard. That's what happens when you look after little people that are in childcare.
Yep. Sharing's caring, apparently. So
exactly. But here we are. That could be why Leon sounds a little odd. I think the funny thing is that everyone's like, oh, you sound so normal, Sam. I'm like, in my head, it does not sound normal at all. I've got everything is blocked. So, but thankfully, I sound normal to everyone else, which is great. I can just hear about 5 of me in my head as it's all reverberating around.
You don't get that thing where like you have is it nasal congestion where your head feels like the size of a house?
That's what I feel like I've got. That's exactly how I feel right now. But anyway, enough about us and our lurgies. We are on the mend, which means that we can record today. And Leon, what I want to talk about is it's something that I saw on a YouTube clip last weekend. And I was watching it and I had that moment where my brain went, oh my goodness, this just has changed my whole perception of everything. It was a video obviously about business. That's what I watch. That's the only thing I pretty much watch. And he was talking about money, which is a topic that I love to look at, watch. It's a topic that as a business owner is really important, right? How do we make more money? And he said something which it actually caught me off guard. And he just came straight out and said, you're making every decision in your life based on whether you can afford it. And I kind of stopped and I actually paused the video and I went, is that true? Because I wanted to run it through, like some sort of filter. And I started to really think through everything and thought, oh my goodness, it is true. We do make every decision based on whether we can afford it. And I just wanted to talk about it because it was so huge for me. And we had such an amazing conversation when I went, hey, babe, listen to this. And we started to unpack this, that I wanted to take the conversation a little bit bigger.
Yeah. It's super interesting, right? Like if you really stop and think about it, when you say that every decision is based on money somehow or other, whether you think it is or not, it most likely it is. So when you really start like thinking deep about it, somewhere money comes into it, every decision, every time.
Yeah, absolutely. We shared a conversation that we were part of at a mastermind just recently, but I would love you to share that story again, Leon, because I think that this was such a beautiful story of how money actually, or what someone could afford, changed the trajectory of his business.
Yeah. So someone that we met, a great guy as well.
He was lovely.
Yeah. So he did something, and I don't know if he considered could he afford it or not, but he did it anyway. So what he did was he decided that he was going to surprise his wife with, I think it was business class tickets, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was business class
flights.
Tickets, yeah.
And she absolutely loved it. And the look on her face of enjoyment through the whole flight, he felt so deeply about it that he just went, I need to make more money so I can do this for her all the time. And he was almost in tears saying it, like he just wanted to bring happiness to her. And this was one of the ways he could do it by, getting business class flights. But it was just a really, like we were all about to start tearing up as well, like it was just so much love for his wife and this,
Yeah, because there was so much love for his wife. The way he shared, I love her so much, and I just looked at her and she was so happy and I wanted to give her this all the time. And I just thought that was a beautiful story of how that actually changed the trajectory of his business, because then he pretty much went back and went, all right, well, what do I need to do to make this happen? So I can fly her business class with me all the time.
So, Sam, question for you. What
Yeah.
is the most expensive lie you've heard a business owner tell themselves to justify why they aren't making more money?
Oh, my goodness. Just one, because I've got a million came to mind really, really quickly. Which one am I going to go with? I think it's that I haven't got the money to put into marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you a very, very specific example of this. If you knew that you could get a client for, let's say, $250 tomorrow, which meant that if you put $1,000 into ad, because you had something dialed in and you knew that for $1,000 you could get 4 clients next week, why would you not spend that $1,000 to get 4 clients, or even $250 to get 1 client, and then the next week $500 to get 2 clients? Yet people go for months and months and years with not spending anything to acquire a client. I think that that's probably the craziest lie we tell ourselves. And that might sound really like, oh my goodness, I'm not telling a lie. But I think that it's really important that we do tell ourselves these lies, and we are wired as humans to believe certain stories to keep us safe. And we are going to go into this. And like, Leon, this affects you and I too, right? We're not in a position where we can spend whatever we want whenever we want. Like if we're going out and, well, actually, like for me, I love shoes. And if we went somewhere and I wanted to buy 8 pairs of shoes, I probably wouldn't do it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I would probably choose not to do it because I wouldn't want to spend that much money at once. Unless it was 8 pairs of really, really cool shoes. I'd probably make up some sort of other story.
Louboutins, or whatever they call them. So.
All I'm trying to say is we're not in the position where we can do whatever we want either. And I think it's really important to be able to call ourselves on it and say, well, we're the ones that are actually in control of our business, and there are certain decisions that we need to make, and we need to sort of talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. So what you're saying is that hope and pray isn't also a good way of getting clients?
No, it really isn't. And I think that something else that needs to be said is it's not about the money until it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Until it is. Because if I had a family member that needed some overseas, a miracle cure because they were going to lose their life and we didn't have the money in the bank, well, that, like, how devastating would that be? And there's people making these kinds of decisions all day, every day, all around the world. We want to make sure that we do have what we need to be able to live the life we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that saying? Money doesn't buy happiness? But it buys jet skis.
Ever seen a sad person on a jet ski? Only the one that's crashed into a wave and broken a rib. That's the only time.
Sounds like something you'd do. Anyway, let's not do that.
Let's not do that. No. And you're right. It's probably something I would do because I'm a bit of a goober. But anyway.
There was something funny you just said. Not funny. There was something you said there, and we were talking about the ads a minute ago. And you said spend $1,000 to make X amount, whatever the 10X, 4X, whatever the increase was from the ad spend.
I think I know what you're going to say. I used the wrong word.
Yeah.
Would
it not be investment? Would it not be investing?
Yeah. You said it back to me. I picked up what I'd said. It is. It's an investment because like any investment, you put money in expecting a greater return to come out. I think what catches a lot of people out is they don't see that investment right at the beginning. But it's the same when you're playing the stock market, or maybe you're dabbling in Forex or whatever it is. You're not going to get the great returns at the beginning because you need to learn, you need to practice, you need to see patterns, and that only comes from doing the reps, right? And so I think that that's what happens is people expect the reps to come right at the beginning, and it doesn't necessarily happen.
Yep.
And I think that when business owners are in the early stages or in the messy middle, that these, I'm going to say it, the lies that people tell at themselves, the lies that we tell ourselves, keep us playing small. So we need to be really, really aware of what's playing out in our mind so that we can call our own BS, right?
Yeah. I think there's something you need to do. This probably comes back to more than just about the money part, but when you become the business owner, you need to be a bit more brutal and honest with yourself about how you make some of these decisions. And I think that, well, it's up to you to make that call on the decision that you're making. But like, what is the, I don't know, what do you call it? It's like the background of why you make the decisions the way you make them, kind of thing. So I think it's important that you be honest with yourself about that and be realistic as well.
Yeah, and understanding that the things that are important to you don't necessarily happen overnight. And I can give you an example of this. I was in a position in my late 30s where I was fully retired. We had 3 businesses and I didn't need to be in any of them. We'd set ourselves up so that they were fully managed, they were fully run, and I showed up in them because I wanted to a few hours a week because I still enjoyed my businesses. Did I do that on day one? Absolutely not. It took me 15, maybe not that long. It took me over somewhere between 10 and 15 years to get to that point. And in those early stages, the very early stages, there was me and me alone. And then there was me and my husband at the time. Because at the beginning, he was still in his job. Then he came into the business. Then we hired the first team member. Then we hired the second team member. Then we, hired a few team members. Then we set up some systems. Then we used a lot of that money and put it back into market. Like there was years and years and years of doing the reps, if that's what how we're going to say it, to get to the point where I didn't need to go to work and I could stay home with my son full time. It was brilliant. Loved it. But I had to do a lot of work to get there. It didn't happen overnight. And I think that you need to be really aware of the choices you're making right at the beginning, be aware of the decisions that you're making, and also be aware of the decisions that are being made for you. Like you need to be super, super aware. You need to know where you're going, why you're doing it, and be willing to go through whatever it is to get to the other side.
Yeah. So many things to talk about here as well. This is like making me like, pinging off different things everywhere again. We need to come back to this. But one of the things you spoke about there with, decisions being made for you because of the choices, I suppose, that you're making. When you start a business, you have to push money into it, invest in it, to get the return out the other side of it. So you had to hustle plus invest to get the return on the other side of it, which is really important. I think people that think you can start a business for nothing, well, you kind of can, but it doesn't go very far.
I was going to say, I know people say you can, but it's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
You do need to invest back into your business. And every successful person that I know did invest back into their business. We were chatting with friends of ours not that long ago, and they were saying in those early days, like they did things like didn't get their hair colored, or didn't she didn't get her nails done, or
they 2-minute noodles, or
and this is the reality. And these are people that have a mid 7-figure business now, and they did it really quickly.
Yeah.
But they made sacrifices, and you and I do as well. Let's not lie. There are times where it's like we've got this big investment that we want to make, and it's like, well, where's this money coming from? What are we moving around to do that? Because we're investing in our future business rather than taking the money out now and having Netflix or, going overseas to Europe. We haven't been overseas to Europe in a few years. We still travel, but we haven't taken a really, really big expensive holiday for a while because we're investing back into growing our business as quickly as we can. And it's working.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things I keep seeing is the non-hustle culture, and you don't have to hustle, and you can still run a business and whatever else. But they're probably said by someone that's also, I think it's also probably a lie too, but they're also probably doing multi-million dollars, and they have a lot of team working for them and stuff like that. But at the beginning, you have to hustle and get moving, and you have to invest. And the more you invest, the faster you go. Like if you want to get to 8 figures or something like that, you need to be investing into it to get there. Otherwise, it's going to take you a really long time if you don't as well. But it's that, if I say this right, it's the doing the things that others won't, so you'll get what others haven't got.
Don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I meant that. Sorry.
No, I think you got it right.
But hopefully I get the idea. Yeah. You do the things that others won't, so you can get what they can't get. So
don't have.
Whatever
that
it
bit
is. Anyway.
Yeah.
But
what they don't got.
Yeah, what they don't got. But that's the uncomfortable bit that you need to go without. But in the long run, you're better off, because I don't know how many people, look at your dance shops and the dance studio. You put the hustle, effort, and all your money into it to get it to move, so that you come out the other side of it. How a job that you can work 3 hours a week in, not a job, a business you can work 3 hours a week in,
100%,
and live that lifestyle. But you didn't just get it.
No. Yeah. I wish, but it didn't happen like that. No. And this is the truth that a lot of people don't talk about. God, that sounded so AI then. I can promise you, I didn't read that from anywhere.
Was there an M dash in that?
There was no M dash. But it is the truth that a lot of people don't talk about, because it's not sexy. It's like, you can have this, 7-figure business while you're down the beach doing nothing. Well, there are people that have done it, and it's not a business of depth. And I don't necessarily think it's on full integrity, is all I'm going to say on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
That's not the people in our world. We're building businesses of depth, with expertise, built with trust, and they take time. But in all of this, when you can build that business so that it is making more money, you can create that life you want. So, if you don't think that you're making decisions based on where your business is, just think right now. Do you have the help you need in your business to grow? Do you have the space in your office so that you've got this, the physical space to think? Or are you in a really little room because, you're in a little house, or that's the only size of the office that you can afford? Are you not traveling as much as you want? Are you not eating, maybe you're not eating organic food, or choosing the ramen noodles instead of the organic vegetables? They're all decisions that we make based on money. Every single one of them.
I've got a question for you. Yeah. So I think it's a bit more mindset, and hopefully I keep mincing things. This flu thing is really brain fog.
It's bad, terrible. Isn't it?
Everyone knows what brain fog is like. But what I wanted to say was, and this is probably something I've been probably guilty of. If you do say things to yourself like, I don't need a bigger house, or I don't want to travel that much, or I like being hands-on in my business and things like that, is that what you really want? Or is that just a thing that your current income allows? Is that a limiting factor in your business almost?
So maybe you don't want the bigger house. Insert anything here where you say, I don't need it, but you're really saying I don't need it because you can't afford it. And I think that's where you start going, oh, hang on a minute. I do say that. I have said, I don't need that. I don't need the bigger house, or I don't need the insert whatever it is in here. And when you really think about it, it could be, it's because I can't afford it. And I think it's really important to notice those things, because that's when you're actually telling yourself the lie and changing your behavior. Because admitting that you can't afford it breaks the identity that you currently have, and you're protecting it, right? And the second that you realize that's what's happening, that's when you can crack it open and make different decisions.
Yeah. I like that. I think some of the mindset, and again, so many things going off right now, but we're going to come back and revisit some of these later on as well. But mindset and business, I think, is a very underrated topic that people don't kind of dig into enough, and that probably keeps them stuck more than they think.
Absolutely. Because I can guarantee you, Leon, that there's many people that are listening to this right now going, oh my God, I can't handle this. I really don't want a bigger house. And are totally not listening to this, like what's actually the conversation is.
Yep.
Because they're already making up but I don't want that. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is, are you saying little lies to yourself to protect your identity?
So what about, based off that in a business sense, that, people are telling themselves lies from personal point of view, like I don't need the bigger house or whatever it is, but it's based off the fact they can't actually afford it, or think they can't afford it rather.
Yep.
What about when it comes to your business, though, where and this is probably what I always look at, is I don't want to hire anyone just yet, or I don't want to run ads. But I mean, they're probably really saying things like, I can't afford to hire someone, or I can't afford to spend money on ads, not invest, spend money on ads and things like that. Do you think that's what's actually holding them back? Because their mindset of the whole, I can't afford it now, as opposed to investing, is like the limiting belief there?
Yeah, because growth doesn't fix a bottleneck, it exposes it.
Nice.
So as soon as you're in that position where you're like, oh, I can't hire right now, and you need to, then that's been exposed. Like, it happens at the time that it's needed, right? The question wouldn't have come up at a time where it wasn't needed. The second those questions come up, that bottleneck is being exposed, right? There is a Post-it note I have next to my laptop, and it has been with me or next to me, like in the old days when I had a desktop in my back office and I had an actual pin board, and I don't even know if there was Post-it notes around. I still had it then. It's just been in different forms over the years. It's, how can I afford that? Because I always knew that if someone said, maybe I wanted something, maybe an ad came up while I was working for, I don't know, whatever it was. I'll say a designer handbag. I'm not a designer handbag person, by the way, not because of any other reason. I actually choose not to buy them because they don't do anything for me, right? However, I would buy a sports car at the drop of a hat. So it just, it's what you like, right? But I always had, how can I afford that? And it was always been my reminder, so that as soon as I'm like, oh, I can't afford that. All right, what do I need to do so I can afford that? What could I do today? What could I do next week? What could I do so that I could afford that? And it's something that I'm super grateful that you've always been on that journey with me. And I was super lucky that my last business partner was exactly the same, that when I come to you with harebrained ideas of like, hey, I want to do this thing, but I've also come up with a way we can afford it, that you are on board and like, okay, all right, I trust you, let's do it. Because sometimes you have to make some decisions that don't necessarily logically make sense today.
Yeah. There's a part of being a business owner too where you need to be able to take a risk. And I think if you're not prepared to take a risk, you shouldn't be in business. Actually, you should go get a job.
I think that's why so many business owners fail.
Yeah.
People say it's because they can't get clients, or they say it's lots of different things. But I actually think that most of the time it's because they're too afraid to take the risk and back themselves in a way that they can make it work.
Yeah. I think that's probably, if you are in business too and you're like that, you don't want to back yourself and make it work to do that. The next thing or get some kind of growth, you're going to be locked in that level. You're going to be stuck at that stage, and not moving. So you're not really going to go anywhere because to go from like 7 figures to 8 figures, for example, you need to take a risk somewhere. There's something we talked about, I can't remember how many weeks back it was now, but when there's times like the GFC, etc., there's instability in the economy and things like that. One of the things that people do, or in business owners do, I should say, is that they cut their spending out to make sure they're, in a better position. What they do is, though, they cut the damn marketing spend out.
Yeah.
Which is insane, so.
Hey, Leon, actually, you might remember this. On the last weekend, we were doing some cleaning up in the office, and I found my original folder with all of my notes from my first business coach.
Yeah.
Now, I'd never quite remembered like when I hired him or whatever. And I opened up the folder, and right in the front was the date that we signed the contract and also how much we paid. And I was actually really surprised. So for a couple of reasons. Number one, we signed on to work with him in October 2008. And we all know what was happening in 2008, GFC. And I remember what was happening with us in 2008. And I was like, that was gutsy of us to do that, because I know we were having a bit of a tough time. So that was number one. And number two, back in 2008, when we signed on to work with him, we signed on at $3,500 a month. Now, that is actually more than I would have thought for back in 2008, because I think I did ask ChatGPT to work out like what would that be equivalent to now, and it came up with like 4,700 or 5,300, somewhere in that range, because of not just like the way that the dollar has moved, but also with like where the coaching is positioned in the market. And I was like, wow. Like if you asked most people to invest like $5,000 in coaching a month right now, I think that most people would laugh.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's quite a substantial amount. Like I was looking at it going, that's actually pretty solid amount for now, let alone 2008, like
2008,
3.5 a month. Yeah. So I was
also
surprised,
remember, do you know how long I thought about that before I signed that contract?
Oh, about 3 seconds probably. About
3.3 seconds is what I was going to say, because I was like, yep, that's what I need. That's where I want to go. I need help. And it was, do you know, the number one, the only decision I needed to make is, am I willing to back myself?
Yep.
And this is another thing that I think a lot of people don't do, is they don't back themselves. I wasn't thinking, oh, this is a magic pill, or he's got the blah, blah, blah. It was like, do I back myself enough to do this work? Yes, I do, because I want this so much. And, oh, man, like, he was a tough coach. Like George, that was my first business coach. Like I had to hand my homework in every week. Like I've heard one of our coaches go, don't get your clients to do homework. You know what? That coach, it worked. I had to hand my homework in every week. I did the work. I backed myself. And within 6 months, we'd gone from 500K to $1 million. But that was me doing the work, and it was actually me backing myself. And that was the decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, coaching is not a done for you thing, is it?
No, no.
But if you want to learn, it's there. But what a great ROI.
Oh, 100%.
Like spending like $5,000 a month is like kind of chicken feed to get another $500,000 a year turnover. Like,
yeah, come
on. Like,
I think we took that mill. It wasn't long. It was only a couple of years, and we'd taken it to 2.4. I think maybe that was 2 years to go from $1 million to 2.4, because I found those documents not that long ago as well, because I forget these things over time. And that 2.4 then, like, you know, would be, I don't know what now. But
if you think about it, if you go, okay, so for 12 months, so if you think about it and you go, for 12 months, you spent, say it was $5,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
And so 12 months, that's $60K. And that $60K gave you a $500,000 return. And it was fast in 12 months anyway, but you know, But even that's just phenomenal. But that's that power of coaching, right, as well, because someone that's been there and also can help you get there. So just what a great investment.
Yeah, totally.
It seems like a lot of money, but what a great investment.
And that's why we've still got business coaches today, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You and I have had a business coach forever. Like ever since the day I met you. I remember the day, when the first time you came to our house, or to my house, I should say, the week that we met. I don't know if you remember this. You probably do. There was a conference for one of the coaching programs that I was in, and I actually had other coaches from interstate staying with me, and we were chatting that night about marketing, and you're like, I don't understand a single thing that you're saying. So right from the day you met me, I had a coach, and you came straight into the business, and we've had a coach ever since, because I know the value of them. And I also really love learning as well, so it's always really exciting. But if you're at the stage of business that can't support the next level, you are going to be, I can guarantee, making decisions to protect where you are. That isn't the problem. The problem is having the ability to call them out. Because if you've got symptoms like you've got inconsistent revenue, maybe you're doing everything yourself. Maybe you're the bottleneck in your business and the team's sitting around waiting for you. Maybe your content's not converting, like whatever it is, you're not building a business based on the life you want. You're shrinking your life to fit your business. And like, you just need to think, if money wasn't a factor, what would you change today? What would you change in your life? What would your business need to provide for you to be able to do that? And how can you change that in your business? Like, would you still be doing everything yourself? Would you still be avoiding the systems? Would you still be saying no to the paid marketing? Because whatever that gap is, that's the bottleneck that's holding you back, or holding you ransom essentially for where you are right now.
But that line that you said, I think that was, you're shrinking your life to fit your business. Mm-hmm. That smacks you pretty hard across the face, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why would you do that? But we do it.
We all do it, right?
Yep.
We do it too.
Yep.
It's about calling yourselves out, and we call ourselves out. Yep. What did we do that for? Why didn't we do that? That's the thing.
That kind of is, one of the things that keeps most business owners stuck. They're always chasing more leads. They're trying to create more content. They're adding more offers and stuff like that. But, are these just things that are putting more constraints on their business and more pressure, more chaos? Like, is it, they're the things that not letting them move forward? Like,
so super big on this. This is something that we've really started to hone in with our clients, is that there's always a million things that can be done. And the problem and the reason that most business owners can't grow their business is because they try and unblock the constraints in the wrong order. And all that does is just extend the problem. You have to deal with the constraints in order. It's like unblocking a pipe, right? You don't go and unblock the complete other end and expect the water to flow through. But if you unblock it in order, the water will start to flow through that pipe. And I think that that's really, really important to understand.
But it's like problem-solving theory. So you can't just go, well, okay, so the car's not running, for example. But then you go, if you turn the key on, okay, that's great, but it's not running. So then you got to go through the process and go, okay, so do we have...
Does it have petrol?
Fuel, yeah. Have we got electricity,
Is the battery working?
Is the battery, is it connected, and you work through the process, but you don't go and check out the exhaust pipe to see if there's like exhaust coming out of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So I think to wrap this up, if you're absolutely done making decisions based on what your business can currently afford, and you actually want to build a business that funds your life, we have put together the 7-figure formula. And this will help you to really understand what the next constraint is in your business, so that you can just worry about that, so that you can, scale to those consistent 50K, 100K months and further, so that you can just get the next 3 moves to really deal with that constraint and move forward in order. So we'll pop the link for that 7-figure formula below. It's just like a quick 2-minute quiz to go in and discover what that next thing is. Because I think that really at the end of the day, what Leon and I want you to take away from this episode is the reason you don't have what you want is because your business can't afford it yet. That's it. And that there is ways around it. There is ways to move through it. And it's just about getting really clear on what those constraints are so that you can logically just move through them step by step.
Yeah, so I'm just having a few thoughts there as well. Like there's been a lot in this episode that I'd love to come back to and talk more about. We could probably talk for hours about a lot of these things, and probably the biggest thing, as you said just then, your business can't afford it yet. And probably my thought is on top of that is to have a think about, are you acting like the business owner that you want to become, or are you shrinking back to be the business owner that you can afford right now?
That's so good, because let me tell you, the business owner, the future business owner that's making those 100K months will be making very different decisions to the business owner that is making 10, 20K months. I can guarantee you. I've been there and I know. Good pickup, Leon. Thanks for chatting about this topic. I know that it pushes a lot of people's buttons, but I also know and I also hope that when you listen to this, that you have the moment like I had last weekend when I was watching that YouTube video that went, oh my goodness, I'd never actually thought about it that way, that every decision that we're currently making right now is based on whether we can afford it. And it's changed a lot of the decisions and a lot of the conversations that we've had in our business this week just by having that realization or that next level of realization. And that's what we hope that you take away from this conversation that we've had today. So thanks so much for listening. We look forward to catching you for another episode next week on Business Growth Lab.